We did it, boys. We won a football match. We beat PSG. That 3-2 result is crazy. Job's not done yet. Job's not done, but I think we can definitely celebrate what just happened, and I think we should. But I think it does deserve a look at how this match went, because it's a lot more to it than just the 3-2 scoreline. A lot of stuff happened, and honestly, I think for a lot of the match, we were a little bit outclassed, at least in certain areas of the pitch. At the beginning of the match, it was pretty clear that Luis Enrique's press was very aggressive. They had a very clear man-to-man press, and it was pretty solid for the most part. We couldn't play through the middle. Frankie de Jong was definitely struggling to find outlets for him, and there was a lot of passing back. The only solution was to play it out wide and play it over the top. Thankfully, Rafinha was insane today, and we saw 2 incredible goals from that situation, or at least 1 incredible goal from that situation, and then some other really good chances for him there. That was critical to us creating anything, because if those balls weren't on and some of the substitutions weren't made, this game could have gone so incredibly differently. And look, I think another day also this game goes differently, but that can happen with every game. That's football, right? I think Xavi was a little bit outclassed, but I think he didn't really have a ton of solutions. It's very hard to press PSG very hard because you have Mbappe and Dembele pressing your back line. So you can only move so far off the pitch until your defenders are going to be one-on-one on counters against the 2 of them. And so it's very hard, especially for a team like Barca that haven't pressed great this season. So I'm not surprised they didn't do that today, but even then, even though they weren't pressing great, they defended very well. They were solid at the back, and for a lot of the first half and a decent amount of the second half, they prevented PSG from really creating too many great chances. There were some, but even the goals for PSG in the second half were great goals, like very impressive finishes, solid goals overall. Like I'm not going to complain that much about it. I think Sergio Roberto could have marked a little bit better on Vitinha's goal, and Dembele's, that was just a really good finish. They pressed him pretty well. I think Koundé probably could have stepped in a different position, but I'm really not upset about that, to let Dembele finish there instead of Mbappe. Overall, I think they both had a very quiet game, and so if they're going to score that, that's going to happen. You know, like, it wasn't an incredibly bad chance. Barca defended terribly for it. It just, PSG's a good team, and they created a good goal. That's going to happen again in good games against good teams. The way to respond to that is to create good chances yourselves, and honestly, we didn't recreate a ton today, even though we did have the XG leg up on the XG. On SofaScore, it has us at 1.73 expected, and PSG were at 1.2. So we did create more, even though we only had 40% of possession. So that all came from basically balls over the top, or, you know, good combinations with our wingers. Cancelo was very good moving forward on the left, and Lamine was okay today. Realistically, he wasn't that good. Wasn't his best game. I think his decision making was kind of poor. I think his final ball was also really not good, and you know, I think that's part of the reason they took him out. It's okay. He's a 16-year-old. He has been good before, and it's really all good. I'm not that upset about it. I'm proud of Xavi though for taking him out. I don't think I would have done the same thing, but I think Joao Felix had a very good game when he came in. Very solid on the ball. Kept the ball a little bit better than Lamine Yamal did, even though he wasn't maybe as threatening every time, but he did play some really good balls, some very dangerous balls. And the side overall played very well. We're going to go into each player's performance, though, just to give us a better idea how everyone did. Ter Stegen, starting from the back, I think it was fine. There were definitely some hairy moments there on the ball. He wasn't perfect, but he played some good long balls out to Lewandowski that worked out okay. So, you know, he didn't make any major errors. He was in a good position to block some shots, and maybe I could ask a little bit more from him on maybe Dembele's goal and Vitinha's goal, but I don't know. That Dembele goal was wild. I don't even think Manuel Neuer is saving that. So I'm okay with that. Vitinha, I can see the argument, but realistically, it is what it is. I'm not that upset with him. Those are hard saves to make. At the back, I think they were all really good. Koundé and Araujo did really good locking up Mbappe in the first half. Like, look, you can only defend so well against a kid. He wasn't. Some people in chat are saying he ghosted. I don't think he ghosted, but I just don't think he had a ton of options because they defended so well. I think Mbappe played well with the space he got and the chances he got, but Araujo was so clinical with his tackles today, and Barca was really good with obviously his ball playing. Again, fantastic today. He got a yellow card. We can be less happy about that, but he doesn't miss the next match, so it's not that big of a deal. I think he had a very good match as well. Cancelo started off the game very well defensively against Dembele, and he got worse, slightly worse as the game went on. Was it him getting worse, or was it Dembele getting better? You could argue. But Cancelo was pretty solid defensively and pretty solid going forward. So happy with Cancelo as well. Koundé did a pretty good job getting forward as well. A little surprising to me. In the middle, it was an interesting setup today. It was a very attacking lineup from both sides. And especially with Barca not having Christensen in the match, it was interesting to say the least. We haven't played without a real defensive midfielder in a while, especially not against a threatening attacking team. So it was an interesting setup, and I think they did a good job defending. I think Frankie was solid defensively. I think Sergio Roberto covered that space okay, and he had some good runs through the middle, but he did get a yellow card, so he is missing the next match. And Christensen, when he came in, also got a yellow card, so he does miss the next match as well. For PSG, they don't have anybody missing the next match, so they don't really have to worry about that, even though Dembele and Lucas Hernandez were both on yellow cards, and so they could have gotten it, but realistically, nothing we can do about that. It's going to be a weird midfield, but as long as Gundo, Pedri, and Frankie stay healthy, and Romeu, we can be a little bit comfortable now. That's a tall ask of this squad, but whatever. Sergio had a good game. I think Frankie was okay. He didn't have a ton of options to play through the middle because their press was so good, but I think we held the ball okay. I guess we really didn't. We really didn't create through the middle at all, and so I think some of that's on Frankie. I think he maybe could have made some better decisions, but realistically, he didn't have any options, and it's really not his fault. It's more of how Barca lined up and then how PSG responded to that. Now, Gundo, I think he was phenomenal today. I think if Rafinha and Pedri weren't so good, Gundo might have been my man of the match. And obviously, that's forgetting the back line. All of them were fantastic. Gundo was really good with his link-up play today, as he always has been when he was playing in that further up midfield role, and that's exactly where he was playing. Sergio Roberto took over that deeper lying midfield role alongside Frankie, and Gundo looked great. He always seems to be on a different page than Lewa does a lot of times, and I wish that wasn't the case, but I really don't think that's Gundo's fault. I think it's mostly Lewa's and his weaker ability on the ball now at his he's 35. It makes sense. I'm not upset at him for that. But today, overall, I said Lamine was okay. They have him as a 7.4 on SofaScore. I don't think I agree with that. I'd probably give him like a 6.8. I don't think he was good. I think he made poor decisions, and that's okay. The team survived in that first half when he was on the pitch, and I'm not going to put these 2 goals that they scored on him. It's not his fault. But I think we could have been more threatening should we had seen a different Lamine Yamal today. So, yeah, Lewandowski now. Lewandowski was really good. I really thought, he didn't score. He didn't walk out of here with an assist either, but I thought he was really good. He was threatening. His link-up play was solid for most of the game. I think it got a little bit worse at the end, but I think it was really good. And I don't know if there's much more we can ask from him. I think his hold-up play was okay. His decision-making was okay, and he's a threatening player that takes a lot of the focus of the defenders away, and that allows for runs from deep, like from Rafinha, that score goals that change the match, like his goal did when Pedri played him the ball after he came in. That ball was insane. People in chat are saying it right now. Rafinha is my man of the match by far. The guy was fantastic today. Not only was his first finish very solid on his right foot, sure, there was no keeper in the net, so it's obviously going to be easier, but it's on his weak foot. There are defenders in net to cover, and he placed it well, hit it high, made it difficult for them to block, and he was really good. But Pedri was also a key part in being able to pick out his runs. I also thought when Pedri came in, he was defensively very solid, much more solid than Sergio Roberto was. I think he's just maybe, smarter with his tackling, but I think he's more effective when he tackles. I think he wins the ball more often, and I think he's just a little bit stickier with the ball too. So Pedri was incredible today. For coming off of injury, I'm not surprised, but he was great. And Ferran Torres too, he came on, he was good. I thought he was good. He made some good runs, could have made some better decisions, but I'm not upset with him. Neither am I with Fermin Lopez. I think he was fine. I think he was just on there to really run and create some chaos, and I think he did that pretty well. I think some people were upset that Roque didn't come in, but I like that Ferran got a run out, got some more minutes. And so I'm happy. But yeah, Pedri really is the standout of all the substitutes. Christensen got that header on the corner. We can praise him for that. PSG is a shorter team, so, you know, that is something to think about. But great header from Christensen. Way to get down there. Lewandowski had a great headed chance that he absolutely missed terribly earlier. So, you know, we can't take it for granted. But PSG, for all the possession they had, were really not that threatening. And I think that all comes down to the way the back line covered for them, covered for Ter Stegen, made him comfortable, and allowed Rafinha and Pedri to do their thing. Rafinha was great today. The way they played balls over the top was fantastic. That's really all we were creating. And that's really good for Xavi. I think in a different day that wouldn't have worked, that wouldn't have been effective, and that hasn't been in the past. I think we've been working up to this moment the entire season to figure out how to play that ball constantly and have it work. A lot of matches, it kind of seemed earlier this season that it was hopeless. And I think I'm going to get into this a little bit more on the main channel for this week's video, but it just really seems like we're clicking now. We're building that chemistry. We're understanding more how to play, especially when we're pressed like this. How to create those balls running in behind off of Lewandowski. I talked a little bit about this in my criticism of Lewandowski, the video I uploaded on my main channel, but those runners off of Lewa are very effective because Lewa is very threatening, and so people are going to be very drawn to him. Center backs are going to be drawn to him, opening up space for runs like Rafinha to make. That created that goal there, and they created a lot of nonsense earlier this year. It just wasn't connecting the way it is now. And to do that on the biggest stage, in the biggest match of this season, it really feels like things are coming together. And I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to, jump the gun here. And I'm not going to say anything crazy about anything happening or whatever. But that was a very impressive performance against a very dangerous PSG in a very attacking format that pressed very well. And, we surprised. Also, Nuno Mendes, he deserves a shout out. That guy was incredible. Probably my man of the match for them if Vitinha hadn't scored that goal. He was great. But that match was very impressive from this Barcelona side. And it really feels like something is changing with them. That maybe it's just luck being a little bit different or something. I say luck and that upsets people, but I think it does play a big factor in this, whether it's just injuries happening at dangerous times or, certain deflections falling a certain way, like Camavinga's shot against Man City yesterday. A different day that never goes in, but, yesterday it decided to. And today, Dembele shot one in, but on a different day, maybe Koundé's an inch closer. And okay, I can really get into the minutia of this every match. But I feel good. I feel really good about this Barca side. I think you should too. And, let's be happy for a little while. We got another match this weekend. I forget who it's against. Was it Cadiz or something like that? And so that's something to look forward to. But hopefully we get a lot of rest in. I don't want Lamine Yamal playing in that match. I would like to see Gundo benched as well, and Koundé probably as well, and might as well bench Araujo because he's so injury prone. But Cadiz. Okay, everyone in chat is saying it is Cadiz. Got it. Yeah, so we got another big match next week. Thankfully, it's at the Montjuic. Look, we haven't been great at the Montjuic, but I think this energy is going to return an energy that we haven't seen in a long time to Barcelona. Not the club, but to the city. And I think that'll be huge. Somebody just said Rafinha or Prime Pedro, who was playing tonight. Hard eyes. Yeah, Kyle, I agree. But I think this energy is important for how this team plays. And having the Montjuic on their side so heavily hopefully pushes them over the line. But, we'll have to see. I'll be live streaming next weekend. I hope you'll be there. You don't have to be on the main channel. And there's also going to be a main channel video out this weekend. Probably kind of like a summary of this season so far. So be on the lookout for that. I think we'll cover a little bit more talking points and go into a little bit more depth than I did on here. But thank you for watching, and Visca Barca. Let's be happy, everybody. All right, peace.